Committee. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning.
This is extraordinary. You have the FBI director essentially issuing a stinging rebuke of a sitting president and asking now the Justice Department to refute a claim that the President of the United States made. Are we in a crisis mode here?
Well, I have not yet heard that from Director Comey. I did try to contact him over the weekend so I could hear precisely what he has to say or not say about this. I think it is interesting the Department of Justice has not yet weighed in on this. I look forward to hear what they're going to say.
Your colleague Marco Rubio said he had not heard of any evidence of this. Have you heard of any evidence of this?
Well, I learned a long time ago, I'm going to keep my eyes wide open. You never know when you turn a corner what you may or may not see. But thus far, I have not seen anything directly that would support what the president has said.
But as you know, a president of the United States cannot unilaterally order wiretapping.
Well, there is a process, and you do have to go to a court, and you do go to the FISA court. There are other ways to get that, but you essentially need to go to a court in order to get that. So the paper trail should be there. It's going to take a while for the House Intel Committee, Devin Nunes, they will lead out on that. We will play a supporting role as the Oversight Committee, and we can weigh in at any time. We can do some things in our committee that the House Intel cannot do, and vice versa. But we'll play a supporting role to House Intel.
I heard you just answer Anthony's question where you said, no, you haven't heard of it. But when you heard that the president had tweeted this out, I'm curious about your initial reaction, because he was on such a high from that speech on Tuesday. Even his critics grudgingly had to say he did a good job. And now no one seems to be talking about that. Is this a self-inflicted wound? And what did you think when you first heard about it?
Yeah, we haven't even been a week since the president's address, and look at all the real estate we've covered at this point. Look, it's a very serious allegation. The president has at his fingertips tens of billions of dollars in an intelligence apparatus. I got to believe, I think he might have something there, but if not, we're going to find out.
But yet, Congressman, we're hearing that he might have gotten his information from Breitbart News or a conservative radio talk show. Does that concern you at all, if that does, in fact, turn out to be the case? So you said he has access to top intelligence information.
Yes, he does. And so he's called upon Congress to look at that and review that. I'm going to go wherever the facts take us. I don't know what we're going to find or not find at this point, but we're really at the beginning end of this.
Do you think that's responsible? Do you think that's responsible to continue the speculation?
Yeah. Well,
the reason I asked, the former DNI director, James Clapper, has said it's false. It just didn't happen.
Well, Mr. Clapper doesn't come with the best reputation for facts as well. I mean, his testifying before Senator Wyden is highly questionable. So we're going to go in and look at the facts, and we'll get there. It's not going to happen, by Wednesday. It's going to take us some time to unravel this, but we will get there.
Congressman, how do you feel about the President of the United States making this accusation on Twitter on a Saturday morning without any backing evidence?
Well, I think it's premature to say there's no backing evidence.
But if you're going to make that accusation, don't you present the evidence?
Well, I think if he goes out there and he's challenging Congress and suggesting that we should help lead out in that investigation, we're going to go through that process. So it's still yet to be determined.
The new poll shows that the majority of Americans now want a special prosecutor. This all started from, is there a tie between the Trump administration and the Russians involved in this election? 65% of Americans now want a special prosecutor. Are you one of those?
No, I'm not. I think Congress has a role to play. Devin Nunes at the House Intel Committee has been talking for more than a year about how Russia is engaged in espionage, not only of the government, of the political system, but also in the corporate espionage.
You don't think we need a special prosecutor?
No, I don't at this point. And I think the evidence is flimsy at best. I mean, I see almost no evidence of direct ties between Russia and collusion with the Trump campaign in any way, shape, or form. Were there some incidental contacts and communications? Yes. But does that mean there was collusion? I don't see any evidence of that.
Well, let me ask you this. The Wall Street Journal has this really nice piece just for anybody who's out there. That's how wiretaps gain court approval. There's also a nice section that says, how do we know if President Trump's allegations are true? In fact, the president himself can declassify a FISA order. He does have that. So would you call on President Trump to declassify this FISA order that alleges that Obama wiretapped Trump Tower?
Well, again, you have to go into that process. The House Intelligence Committee will do that. You have to identify it, and then you're right. He can declassify information. So when we get to that point, we'll see what we have.
As Major Garrett reported, the president set to sign the revised version of the travel ban today.
Yeah.
Iraq is not going to be on the list this time. If you have if you're a current visa holder, you'll be exempt. How do you feel about the changes in the travel ban?
Well, I think the rollout is going to be, I hope, much better than it was last time. I do believe we have to have a much higher degree of vetting from certain parts of the country. I do not buy into the whole idea that anybody should ever be targeted based on their religion. And I don't want to see that in any way, shape, or form. But there are parts of the world, like Libya, for instance, where there is no host nation government for us to lean on in order to try to figure out if somebody should be let into this country.
All right. Congressman Chaffetz, thanks so much for being with us this morning.